And honestly, like what Brooke and I do right now,
we're not getting paid for this, but we love it.
Yeah, this is just kind of like a passion project, would you say? Like, it's just something we both have been really interested in doing for a long time. We've talked about for a long time.
Years.
And we finally were like, you know what? We're just going to pull the trigger. We're not going to like start big. We're not going to invest a ton of money. I think altogether we've maybe spent $300 or something.
Yeah, nothing like crazy at all.
Taking a name, you coded the door, and welcome to the game.
Do it, lady.
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 Welcome back to another episode of Dear Dilemma. It's a new week, which means we have a new submission.
This one's kind of a long one, so bear with me just for a moment. I don't feel like I'm on the career path I really want to be on. Back in college, I thought I'd find a job I absolutely loved, something I could do forever. But now I'm older and I've realized I don't have to love my job. I just need to like what it can afford me. I like that. That said, I also know I need at least some kind of interest or meaning in the work to stay motivated, and I haven't found that yet. I keep exploring different paths, hoping that one will stick, but nothing feels quite right. I don't want to go back to school, and even though I have a degree, the jobs I've had so far didn't require it, which makes me feel like I wasted that time. How do you figure out what you're meant to do when your degree feels irrelevant? And you're torn between being realistic and still wanting something fulfilling.
Who wrote this in for me? Who wrote this in for your girl? Because same to whoever wrote that in. I've got a degree. I don't use it. I wish I used it. It's communications, which means it would be more like I would focus more TV production. I would love, I think for fulfillment for myself, I think I would thrive doing, I don't want to do the news because that's boring to me. I would love to do like a talk show or something fun like that. I've even looked into like the radio station, but I think I don't like to hear back my voice. I think it sounds awful. But that's something I would love to do. Whereas I'm not using that. I'm in sales and I don't always love it. And I mean, the money's good, but I don't feel fulfilled. And sometimes I feel more stressed and I think, wow, I should just go back to serving where life's a little bit easier. So I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just kind of looking through this again because there's a lot to this submission.
Yeah.
And I think that it is kind of like what you said, like you don't always have to absolutely love what you're doing, but I think it's important that you recognize you need to have some sort of meaning in it to make you feel like you're fulfilled a little bit. Otherwise, you just
gonna hate it.
Feel like you're wasting your time every single day waking up. And is your, like my question would be, you know, your career path, you said that the jobs that you've had haven't required your degree. So I kind of wonder what your degree is in.
Yeah.
And if that would be like a better path to maybe get you places, I think it would be really cool for you to maybe, there's a couple resources out there. I kind of follow like Dave Ramsey a little bit. If you've watched,
she is a Dave Ramsey girl.
If you've watched prior episodes, you kind of know that. But there is this book out, and it's called The Proximity Principle, and it's essentially talking about how you sort of find like your career path by connecting with people that can get you closer to the career path that you want to be in.
Networking.
So, yeah, but there's a little bit more to it, and I haven't fully read the book, so I can't really speak a whole lot on it. But then there's also another book in their wheelhouse that is called Paycheck to Purpose. So kind of, you know, exactly what you're mentioning, like how do you turn a paycheck or paycheck into purpose? Like, do you do a meaningful project of some sort? Like maybe you do something on the side, an entrepreneurship type thing.
Yep.
I actually have a friend that she is a teacher, but she's like, I'm kind of doing like just a heart project right now. So she's going to open a mobile book store type thing, and so she's asking for a bunch of book donations right now, and she's gonna set something up and kind of like hit up fairs and different things like that. And she's like, this is just like a dream of mine that I had, and I'm gonna do it on the side while I maybe like figure out what else I'm gonna do. So I think there's ways that you
Yeah.
can sort of find that purpose, but it might not always be your actual career path either.
And you might come across something throughout your multiple careers that you didn't realize would be something that interests you or fulfills you. And then you're like, wait, I never thought about this.
Yeah.
Like for me, if I didn't want to do TV stuff, I would love to work with marine life.
Yeah.
I would love to work at Clearwater Aquarium. I can't wink, wink, but I can't because I'm not a marine biologist. But I would love to do that because it would fulfill of rehabilitating animals back into the wild and educating people. And just, I would so much rather deal with animals than people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Even if it's a heartbreaking situation, like I would just much rather do that. So.
And don't feel like you wasted all your time. You know, like I think even though your prior jobs haven't required a degree, I think
still have your degree.
Right,
No one can take that away from you.
No, and some jobs, I think it does open paths. Like there's a lot of jobs out there that just like, they just want you to have some sort of college, like some sort of degree, an associate's or a bachelor's or something. So that might actually, even if it's not in your field, it might still open up doors for you to be able to apply to places that you wouldn't normally be able to, even if it's not in the same wheelhouse.
And some companies help pay for your college. So you might have gotten on through not having a degree. And then they say, like, we'll pay up to so much % for you if you probably there's things like if you stay with the company after you graduate or things like that, or we'll pay off your student debt or whatever it may be if you're with us for so many years. So there's alleyways through that. I also, and I feel like we did an episode on this recently that you don't always have to go to college to do what you want. Like I said, my fiance tattoos, he didn't obviously go to college, do that right away. So there are other career paths of that sort. Or like me, like I got the degree, and like you use your degree to your job. I don't. So it's like, yeah, I got it. I don't use it, but.
Well, that's how I feel about my master's.
Oh,
I actually use my associate's degree for my living. I don't use my bachelor's degree. It's irrelevant. And my master's degree is in business, and I don't use that either. So there are some times that I feel like I wasted a lot of time and money to obtain these things, but it also gives me like a backup plan. So when physically I can't do my job, I can maybe get into management or something. So I know you mentioned not wanting to go back to school, and I think that's fair. But I think there are ways like to go about doing some different things.
Sorry, there's a little gnat. Scared me. I didn't know what it was.
I think there are ways to go about not going back to school, but maybe like getting a certificate, or maybe expanding your knowledge in a certain area. Maybe do job shadowing. Try to find something that gives you that purpose, even if it's not your full-time career. I think that's so important. Like you might just need a hobby to kind of like lifen up.
Well, I did that. So right before COVID shutdown happened, I opened up an online boutique and I loved it. And that was like one of my goals in life. I was like, I want to end up being in a brick and mortar. I want to have my own store in town. And then I got like a startup of it and went to a market and bought the clothes and everything. And then had about maybe a month or two, and then COVID shutdown happened. And that sucked because everyone obviously lost their jobs or they couldn't work. So obviously they weren't going to spend the money. And then everyone in our town
had the same idea.
They were like, oh, well, it's so easy. We'll just start doing this now, which then beat me out of it. So then I wasn't able to stay and compete. And that is something that I go back and forth with myself a lot now, thinking like, maybe I should start it up again and do it on the side. And because it did bring me a lot of joy, and I love the retail world and I love being in the fashion world and I'm good at it. But it was just really bad timing. So that's another option. You can be your own entrepreneur of that sort, like you said, with the bookstore. Something that's not going to cost you a lot of money. I didn't go and get a loan. My aunt spotted me money because she didn't want me to pay interest. And then every time I'd make profit off the clothes, half would go towards the amount to buy more clothes. The other half would go to pay her back. So you might be able to find people to invest in you in that way. Little side jobs that you may think, oh, I'll just give it a try. You might find that you do like.
Yeah. And honestly, like what Brooke and I do right now,
we're not getting paid for this, but we love it.
Yeah, this is just kind of like a passion project, would you say? Like it's just something we both have been really interested in doing for a long time. We've talked about for a long time.
Years.
And we finally were like, you know what? We're just going to pull the trigger. We're not going to like start big. We're not going to invest a ton of money. I think altogether we've maybe spent $300 or something.
Yeah, nothing like crazy at all.
Like just got some lights, we got a little setup, we got some microphones.
You don't have to go big. But funny that it comes out because even though that we started off small, we've had, someone reach out to us to use their studio to be like, hey, you should come here and use our studio and then we can work together. Or, I reached out to our local TV station and I was like, hey, you got any, interest in us? And they were like, absolutely. That's still in the works. We'll let you know when that happens.
Yeah.
But you have to be local. So that was something too, is where it's just a fun hobby. Would it be cool if this would be able to be our full-time job? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would love that. I would love to, but that's not the end goal. The goal was us to do something fun, to get our stress focused away from that.
Spend time together and maybe help other people in the process.
Yeah.
And
here we are answering dilemmas.
So hopefully that has inspired you a little bit. I mean, I know it's not a clear-cut answer because I think it's hard. Everybody's so different, so we only have like this little snippet of your life and we're just talking to you like you'd be our girlfriend, like, hey, maybe think about this and this and this.
Yeah. There's multiple avenues and alleyways that you can take. It's not a one-set plan. You're not stuck. Try something else. It's not the end of the world. If that doesn't work out, then always, have another plan in mind.
Yeah. And just keep trying. Eventually you might find something. And a lot of millionaires and successful people out there have started their business or entrepreneurship because they just had a passion about some random thing and they turned it into a huge business and have become successful. So it's not too late. You don't have to go to school. Now, if you decide that you want to, that's great too. But, spend some time to really focus on what's your why, what makes you tick. And maybe that will lead you to where you're meant to be in life.
Yep. We wish you nothing but the best. We hope this helped. If anyone else has any ideas or advice, please, drop it in the comments. And then, of course, as usual, make sure to follow us on our social media at Dear Dilemma Official on TikTok and Instagram and, of course, YouTube. And make sure to screenshot the QR code that should be playing during our video where you can enter your own submission 100% anonymously. We'll see you Thursday.
See ya.